May the warm winds of heaven blow softly upon your house. May the Great Spirit bless all who enter there. May your moccasins make happy tracks in many snows, and may the rainbow always touch your shoulder. May the sun bring you new energy by day. May the moon softly restore you by night. May the rain wash away your worries. May the breeze blow new strength into your being. May you walk gently through the world and know its beauty all the days of your life. Osio, greetings and blessings. What we are going to do in this short film is take a journey through the Cherokee mythology, understand how it was formed from the pattern of the stars above, and discover how many of the features and themes within their myths reflect stories from many other cultures from around the world. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the Cherokee story of creation. The first thing we are going to look at is the Cherokee Nation flag. As we can see, the flag is focused around the holy number 7 with its 7 stars, all being stars composed of 7 points. In the center is a 7-pointed star, and this represents the 7 clans of the Cherokee Nation: the bird, wild potato, wolf, deer, long hair, paint, and blue clans. Throughout nearly all of the ancient wisdom traditions, we find the number 7 plays a central part of the mysteries. We find heralded 7 ancient planets corresponding to the 7 days of the week, 7 stars in the Pleiades, 7 in the Big Dipper, 7 colors of the rainbow, and 7 notes of the major scale. The Cherokee natives revered 2 sacred numbers, with those being 4 and 7. The numbers 4 and 7 continually reoccur in Cherokee stories, social, and political arrangements. In the Cherokee cosmology, the earth is suspended by the heavens by 4 cords, which correspond to the 4 cardinal directions: north, east, west, and south. These are also akin to the 4 corners of the earth and the 4 seasons in the year. In addition, the Cherokee recognized 3 other directions: up, down, and center. They believed in an upper world of heaven, and the sky realms, a lower world, below the earth, and the middle ground, or earth upon which we stand. With these 3, added to the 4 compass directions, reveals the ever-sacred number 7, up, down, center being 1, 2, 3, and the 4 cardinal directions of north, south, east, and west. This foundational geometric template of 6 around 1 is a notion considered sacred across the world, whose essence is captured in numerous sacred symbols such as the Chi-Rho, the menorah, the Star of David, and even the modern symbol for medicine is based on this fundamental geometric template. For the Cherokee, the number 7 symbolizes a level of purity that few can attain. The numbers 4 and 7 are both numbers that may be found and revealed on one's hands. To explain, when one adds 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, the product is 10. Or, in other words, the 4th triangular number leads to 10. We can obviously find this number placed right in front of us on the 10 fingers of our 2 hands. So 4 naturally leads to the number 10. This is a phenomenon found on the Pythagorean tetractys, which is simply the numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4, creating the triangle. The sacred number 7 to the Cherokees as well finds us looking down at our 2 hands. The hands are composed of segments, natural divisions called phalanges. Each hand has 14 of them, with 3 on each finger and 2 on the thumb, for a total of 14 on each hand. 14 for the left and 14 for the right, comes together to equal 28. This number 28 found on our hands may be uncovered by simply triangulating the number 7. Or, in other words, just adding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 together equals 28. Interestingly enough, your feet reveal this exact same mathematics as well. So both the numbers 4 and the number 7 lead right to the mathematical template that God has placed in front of us. Adding 1 through 4 equals 10. Adding 1 through 7 equals 28. This sacred knowledge was undoubtedly understood by the Cherokee wisdom keepers. Knowing that this math is placed right on our hands, we must conclude that the Cherokee came to understand the sacredness of their world by their study of the natural world itself. The Cherokee name for God, or the Great Spirit, was called Unetla Nuhi, and is considered to be a divine spirit with no human form. Just like the God in the Christian and Judaic canon, Unetlanuhi is considered to be omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent, which means that this God is all-knowing, ever-present, and all-powerful. The Cherokee believed that the air we breathe is spirit and is the breath of the Creator, and the soul of a human is immortal. The Cherokee believed that the earth, just like the account of Genesis, was created in 7 days. Another motif that follows the geometric template of 6 around 1, or 6 resting on 7, with 7 being the origin point of the geometry. The Cherokee, like countless other civilizations across the world, believed the earth to be flat and stationary, with the earth seen as a big island floating in the middle of a cosmic ocean. The Cherokee believed that the earth was suspended in this sea by 4 cords attached to the sky vault or dome, made from solid rock that arched over the earth. This notion is one shared by other cultures as well, with sometimes the earth being propped up by 4 elephants or sometimes 4 pillars, as is seen in some Byzantine and Gothic architecture. The Cherokee believed in great ages or time periods that the earth underwent, and that when the world grows old, tired, and worn out, the cords will break and the earth will sink into the ocean, causing a great flood upon the land in which many people will die. This story, of course, reflects the countless stories found around the world of a major worldwide flood that once wreaked havoc upon the people. The Cherokee are afraid of this time. Just like many creation stories, the Cherokee believe that in the beginning, before the earth was formed, there was nothingness, water, and wind that hovered over the dark cosmic waters. We find these basic cosmological features in religious beliefs around the world. The earth began as nothing but water and darkness. Cherokee. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. The Holy Bible. The world was an endless space in which existed only the Creator. The world had not time, no shape, and no life, except only in the mind of the Creator. Then the Creator instructed him to gather the waters from the endless space and place them on these worlds to make land and sea. Hopi. All humans descended from one pair of ancestors named Rangi and Papa, who are called Heaven and Earth. In those days, heaven and earth clung closely together, and all was darkness. Beings lived in darkness for an extremely long time, all to only wonder what light and vision might be like. Maori. In the beginning, there was nothing, no earth, no living beings. There were only darkness, water, and Cyclone the wind. Apache. It would seem that no matter where we go across the plane of Earth, the story of our creation essentially seems to be one and the same. In the beginning, there was nothing but darkness, waters, and the breath or spirit of God moving over the deep. Just like we hear in the Genesis story, the Cherokee believed in waters above and waters below. The Cherokee pantheon includes gods in the heaven above, on the material plane of earth, and in the waters under the earth. The religion of the Cherokees, like many North American tribes, is often based on the worship of the symbolic aspects of animals, called zootheism. These animals that they worship are often related to the characters and animals of the Cherokee zodiac, or constellations in the sky. Many native tribes considered the metaphysical animals in the heavens to hold a deep sacred value and have their own unique star patterns specific to their tribes. The mystical meaning of the study of zootheism is really that of the study of the zodiac and the wonderment of the heavenly lights placed above our heads. Zodiac means circle of little animals and comes from the Greek word kaiklos, which also means circle of life. The zodiac is a collection of metaphysical animals that live on or underneath the arch or dome of the sky, who withhold deep symbolism in their meanings. According to tribal history, Cherokee people have existed since time immemorial. The Cherokee believe that in the beginning, when all was water, the animals lived above in Gulen-Lati, or the sky vault of the heavens. In the beginning, all the animals lived together, crowded together above the arch of the dome. All the crowded animals wanted more room, so they began to wonder what was below the water. At last, Beaver's grandchild, the little water beetle, offered to go and find out. Water beetle darted in every direction over the surface of the water, but it could find no place to rest. We can view this part of the story as the water beetle creating the dimensionality of the material world below, establishing north, east, west, and south. As the water beetle found no land at all, he decided to dive down to the bottom of the ocean and bring up some soft mud. This mud began to grow and to spread out on every side until it became the island which we call the Earth. Afterwards, this earth was fastened to the sky with 4 cords, but no one remembers who did this. At first, the earth was flat and soft and wet. The animals were anxious to get down, and they sent out different birds to see if it was yet dry, but there was no place to alight, so the birds came back to Galund-Lati. Many probably recognize this entire mythological motif as found echoed in the story of Noah and his ark, sending out the raven and the dove to locate dry land after the flood. When no animal could find dry land, they sent out Buzzard and told him to go and make ready for them. This was the great buzzard, the father of all the buzzards we see now. He flew all over the earth, low down near the ground, and it was still soft. When he reached the Cherokee country, he was very tired. His wings began to flap and strike the ground. Wherever they struck the earth, there was a valley. Whenever the wings turned upwards again, there was a mountain. When the animals above saw this, they were afraid that the whole world would be mountains, so they called him back. This great buzzard is one that we still see in the heavens today. Who is this great buzzard that the Cherokee speak of? Well, the best candidate we have for him is the constellation Cygnus. Cygnus is known as the asterism of the Northern Cross and has been symbolized by a swan or sometimes an eagle, and as you can clearly see, looks like a giant bird. Cygnus flies across the sky through the path of the Milky Way, and Cygnus is considered one of the most easily recognized constellations in the night sky. And Cygnus is located right near the pole star of Polaris, the star in the north, the center of the creation, and the place in the sky where everything revolves. This great buzzard, or Cygnus, is found cryptically in the biblical story of Genesis. Genesis 3:24 says that God drove out the man, and he placed at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubims and a flaming sword, which turned every way to keep the way of the tree of life. Cygnus comes from the word cygnet, which means swan, and its etymology tells us that it means to be white, to lighten, or to glow. Considering that Cygnus is in the shape of a cross, and a cross resembles perfectly the shape of a sword, we may have an answer as to what Genesis is meaning by this cryptic symbology. The flaming sword is the great buzzard of the Cherokee, the northern cross of Cygnus, with his sword-like shape glowing or lit with flames and revolving around the center of the creation, with the pole star itself representing the paradisical Garden of Eden at the top of the vault of the sky. The Cherokee continue on, exclaiming that when the earth was dry and the animals came down, it was still dark. Therefore, they got the sun and set it in a track to go every day across the island from east to west, just overhead. It was too hot this way and burned up many of the animals, so the medicine men raised the sun a handbreadth in the air, but it was still too hot. They raised it another time, and then another time, and another, until at last they had raised it 7 handbreadths so that it was just under the sky arch. Then it was right, and they left it so. That is why the medicine men called the high place the 7th height. Every day the sun goes along under this arch-in, it returns at night on the upper side of the arch to its starting place. This part of the myth of the 7 handbreadths is clearly a reference to the sacred number 7, as we already established and discovered this sacred number revealed on the hands of the human being. After the plants and the animals arrived, men began to come to the earth. At first, there was only 1 man and 1 woman, but after they arrived, human beings started coming to earth so rapidly that for a time, it seemed as though the earth could not hold them all. In the book of Genesis, we find very similar themes as to those of the Cherokee. Once again, we find the progenitors of the human race being a man and woman, and after they were established, they went forth and multiplied and filled the earth. Returning to the heavens yet again, we can find these 2 characters represented celestially, found right near the pole star yet again. Here, we find in the heavens a king and queen, with those being the constellations Cepheus and Cassiopeia, who are represented in the Greek planisphere as a king and a queen. This king and queen may be seen as Adam the king and Eve the queen, who fell from heaven to earth just like in the Cherokee creation story. As we all well know, Adam and Eve had their divine battle with a subtle and slimy serpent. This serpent is located right next to them, as yet another circumpolar constellation named Draco, which is Latin for dragon. Draco is a giant serpent in our sky, who every night circles and protects the pole star. Serpents or dragons are a very common symbolic figure heralded around the world. We find this mythical creature, who breathes fire, flies in the heavens, and may be a threat to human beings if not tamed, upon every continent across the known world. The Cherokee had a similar figure in their mythos named Uktena, who is much akin to the feathered serpent of the Aztecs named Kukulkan and the Mayan Quetzalcoatl. Uktena was not merely an evil creature upon which no good thing could come, though. The Cherokee believed that Uktena had a powerful amulet or blazing crest on its forehead, which, if it could be obtained, was the most powerful means of divination. Defeating the serpent and retrieving the blazing crest would result in the enlightenment of the Cherokee warrior. Again, we find a similar story in the Bible, in the book of Revelation, about the great beast and the dragon that gave him his power. Revelation tells us in 13:18 that, "Here is wisdom, let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. A few chapters later, in Revelation 15, we read the following: "And I saw as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast, and over his image, and over his mark, and over the number of his name, stand on the sea of glass, having the harps of God." As we see, Revelation tells us that he who had victory over the beast, or serpent, now had command of the number 666, and was now standing atop of the dome of the heavens, united with God and celebrating by singing songs of Moses and songs of the Lamb. We can see that symbolically we have the same idea being exemplified in both spiritual doctrines, with the number 666 being akin to Uktena's blazing crest. The warrior obtains the prize of the serpent's head and thus has reached the state of enlightenment. The warrior has completed his spiritual journey and is now reunited with God once again. Uktena, the dragon of Draco, this fierce serpentine beast, just so happens to sit right next to the great Cherokee buzzard in the sky. Just like many belief systems, the Cherokee had several different versions of their creation story. In one of the tales, we are told that when the first plants and animals were made, they were told to watch and keep awake for 7 nights. Night after night, nearly all the animals fell asleep. Only 2 remained awake, the owl and the cougar. Even some of the trees went to sleep with only the cedar, the pine, the spruce, the holly, and the laurel remaining awake all 7 nights. During the long days of night, many of the people had died, and the Creator was sorry that they had perished because of the night. The Creator placed their spirits in a newly created tree. This tree was named A-si-na-o-lugu. the cedar tree. The cedar tree is sacred to the Cherokee till this day. When you smell the aroma of the cedar tree or gaze upon it standing in the forest, it is said you are gazing upon the ancestors of Cherokees. Nearly all races at some point have regarded the tree as the home, haunt, or embodiment of a spiritual essence, and there is scarcely a country in the world where the tree has not at one time or another been approached with reverence, being infused with a spiritual potency. The Yggdrasil tree of the Norse, the Bodhi tree of the Buddhists, and the world tree in Japanese and Chinese mythology are easily recognized examples. In Genesis, we hear mention of the tree of life. The central tree that is being symbolized here is that of the stars themselves, with Polaris being the peak or summit of the entire celestial canopy, the center of the heavens by the pole star of Polaris. This peak or uppermost part of the firmament has been long symbolized in numerous ways. Sometimes that being a large mountain or an enormous tree. According to Britannica, the world tree, also called cosmic tree, center of the world, is a widespread motif in many myths and folk tales among various pre-literate peoples, especially in Asia, Australia, and North America. The Cherokee had their tree too, and a great cedar it was. The North Star, or the top of the tree, is a star that was venerated by many native cultures. The Iroquois called it the star that does not move. The Cree deemed it the guide of the people. The Pomo said it was the eye of the Creator. The Navajo called it the star on top. And the Cherokee called it the star that does not move. This center point in the heavens is a special place where God looks down upon his entire creation and watches over man on his journey on the material plane below. The Milky Way to the Cherokee is called the place where the dogs ran, and there is a wonderful story attached to its creation. The story goes as follows. Some people in the South had a corn mill in which they pounded the corn into meal, and several mornings when they came to fill it, they noticed that some of the meal had been stolen during the night. They examined the ground and found the tracks of a dog, so the next night they watched. And when the dog came from the north and began to eat the meal out of the bowl, they sprang out and whipped him. He ran off howling to his home in the north, with the meal dropping from his mouth as he ran, and leaving behind a white trail where now we see the Milky Way, which the Cherokee call to this day Gi il Utsun Uni, or where the dog ran. Again, all we have to do to find these characters within the Cherokee mythology is look up to the sky vault. Near the area in the heavens where one point of the Milky Way touches the ecliptic, we can locate two dogs, with those being Canis Major with its bright star Sirius and Canis Minor with its bright star Procyon. There in the heavens are two dogs who are guarding the path of the Milky Way to the land of souls. The Cherokee say that to get past the dogs, one should bring food. Be warned, if you give food to the first dog, Canis Major, he will let you pass, but if you fail to save some food for the second dog, Canis Minor, you will be trapped between them forever. This area of the sky is also legendary to astrologers as being one of the gates of the gods. The Milky Way stretches across the sky from one end of the ecliptic to the other. and the two places where the great river of stars meets the ecliptic are considered in legend and lore to be the Silver Gate and the Golden Gate. The general notion was that these gates represent the places where souls could enter and exit the earth plane. The Golden Gate is formed between Sagittarius and Scorpio during the winter solstice, and the Silver Gate is formed from the horns of the Bull of Taurus and the twins of Gemini during the summer solstice. These gates have sometimes been symbolized, as they are by the Vatican, by two keys being silver and gold in color, and often crossed with one another. The two gates or keys are said to represent two separate functions. The silver key has the power to bind and to loose on earth, and the golden key the power to bind and to loose in heaven. Here at the Silver Gate are the two dogs of the Cherokee, guarding the entrance to where they ran across the sky. Another Cherokee creation story is found in the journey of the little water spider, or the story of the first fire. In the beginning, there was no fire, and the world was cold until the thunder beings who lived up in Galunlati sent down their lightning and put fire into the bottom of a hollow sycamore tree, which grew on an island. The animals knew it was there, because they could see the smoke coming out at the top, but they could not get to it on account of the water, so they held a council to decide what to do. Every animal that could fly or swim was anxious to go after the fire. First the raven went, then little screech owl tried, and then the hooting owl and the horned owl gave it a go, but the smoke from the fire nearly blinded them. One by one, every animal that tried to reach it failed. Finally, little water spider said she would give it a try. The other animals knew she was fast over the water, but they doubted she could bring back any fire. The little water spider spun her thread into a small bowl on her back and then crossed the water to the island and its burning tree. She collected a small piece of coal from the fire and placed it in her basket. Then she crossed back to the other animals, and the earth has had fire ever since. Firstly, we see, yet again, the same symbolic elements appearing in this story, with the island mound of earth having a central world tree, this one inflamed with the spirit of the great creator. Notice how in the story this sycamore tree housed fire in its trunk, or in other words, it was a tree on fire. This legend is very reminiscent of the story of Moses, with whom God appeared before him in the form of a flaming tree or a burning bush. Secondly, it is not hard to see this story as being a reflection of the widely held archetypal myth of the theft of fire. The theft of fire motif has no shortage of variations, with the most famous one being that of Greek Prometheus stealing fire, bringing it back down to human beings and suffering for his actions. The Algonquin, the Mazatec, the Muskogee, and the Ojibwe all share similar myths of this stealing of fire. Sometimes this great feat is praised, sometimes it is punished. But no matter how it is told, the theft of fire maintains a cornerstone in many native myths. The most potent symbolism attached to the spider is that of the web that it weaves. Weaving and webbing have often played a key role in the creation of worlds, with the web symbolizing the interconnectedness of life. As the web stretches out from the middle, where all being and purpose originate, it reaches toward the outer edges of the circle of life. This symbolism is easily recognized in the famous dream catcher, whose geometric web functions to protect one from nightmares and let good dreams pass through. The dream catcher symbolizes the journey of the sun and moon throughout the sky, as well as the unity of all life. As it was once written, man did not weave the web of life. He is merely a strand in it. Whatever he does to the web, he does to himself. One of the key elements of the dream catcher are its feathers. The rich symbolism of the feather is well known to be one related to many different native tribes, and the Cherokee is certainly no different. The feather deemed sacred by the Cherokee is that of the golden eagle, which from great antiquity was the sacred messenger between earth and sky. The feather is often connected to the circle, and the attachment is terminated by sacred beads, and together represent the right way of living, thinking, and acting. The wings or feather attached to a circle is very reminiscent of the winged disc, most noted in the Egyptian symbolic system, and is one that has been prevalent throughout many civilizations. The winged disc is a solar symbol associated with divinity, royalty, and is found in places such as Egypt, Mesopotamia, Anatolia, and Persia. The circle or disc in the symbol reveals its symbolism naturally, as the circle inherently, by its geometry, denotes wholeness and unity, and in this case, this circle represents one's soul and its direct connection to the great creator. The wings, or in this case, the Cherokee feather, are representative of the soul's flight to the heavens. The circle of one soul has a purpose on this blessed earth, and that is to send it back home to the heavens above, or Gulen Lati. Mankind's spiritual quest is captured beautifully in the syncretic combination of the circle and feather. The Cherokee believed that man needs to seek out unity and wholeness within the self, and through the purity of his thoughts and actions, allow his soul to ascend to the spiritual world. To the traditional Cherokee, the axiom of balance is central to all aspects of social and political life. In the belief system of the Cherokee, it is said that women balance men, just as summer balances winter, and farming balances hunting. The entire creation was one created by the Great Spirit, and Unetlanvi held balance as the core principle of the world. Indeed, this is interesting in that, in the Egyptian mythos, when a person finally enters through the portal of death, he is to undergo what is known as the weighing of the heart ceremony. In this, a person's heart is weighed against the feather of Ma'at, and if one's heart weighed less than the feather, meaning that one has lived a life of virtue, compassion, faith, and love, the soul would be allowed to enter into eternal life. The feather of Ma'at represented the right way of living for the Egyptians, codified into 42 famous laws or guidelines that they were to follow. The balance of the scales and the feather itself are both key symbolic elements within the Cherokee culture, and both signify the soul's responsibility to live a just and righteous life on earth. The Cherokee motto was "Matters of the Heart." And this is most illuminating, seeing that the heart, which is almost universally considered to be symbolically the organ of love, was a key element to the Egyptian religion and is as well a central feature in the worship of the Christian Savior, with the Sacred Heart of the Lord Jesus Christ. A fulfilled spiritual life could never be obtained without the initiate maintaining a balanced life filled with the love of the Great Spirit. O Great Spirit, help me always to speak the truth quietly, to listen with an open mind when others speak, and to remember the peace that may be found in silence. That concludes our journey through the Cherokee story of creation. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you have enjoyed this film. If you would like more information on the Gnostic Academy, just visit us at gnosticacademy.org. God bless you, and may the Great Spirit always be with you.
All right, this song's called Cherokee. Guess I got a taste for poison. I've given up on ever being well, and I keep mining the horizon, digging for lies I've yet to tell. And I wish you were here to softly say my name, calm down all the chemicals tearing through my brain. I don't think I've missed you this much since I was 17. I'd call you in the morning, but I think this is a dream. Cherokee, Cherokee, where you carve those doubts right out of me. I see you shining through the treetops, but I don't feel you pulling strings anymore. I still use your old alarm clock, and every morning I get further off the course. And don't I hear you speaking in the noises in this house? Airplanes flying over, shaking all my secrets out. Darling, tell me something I don't already know. I'm aware of where to find you. It hurts too bad to go to Cherokee. Cherokee, where you carve those doubts right out of me. I felt like the world was burning. You had stars in your eyes, shining for a feeling that I can't afford to buy. But everything you taught me still rattles in my head. I'm staying off of Main Street, you're talking to the dead in Cherokee. Cherokee. I wish you'd carve these doubts right out of me.